Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Last night's episode of Monday Night Raw saw a singles match between Charlotte Flair and Shayna Baszler turn into a six-woman tag of Flair, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose versus Baszler, Nia Jax and Lacey Evans. So far, so overbooked. But then a series of botches significantly derailed the episode. First, Charlotte and Baszler awkwardly tumbled to the outside. They appeared uninjured, but also didn't notice the referee counting them out. This meant definitely not Raw General Manager Adam Pearce had to come out during the ad break to restart the match. WWE do weird angles like that all the time before the ad break, as a mini cliffhanger to make viewers stick around to see what happens. But according to PW Insider, this was a genuine mistake. The site is reporting that the referee legitimately counted Baszler out, leaving everyone in the ring looking visibly confused. WWE were forced to send out Pearce to improvise and get the match restarted during the commercial break, which the heels won when Nia Jax chokeslammed Dana Brooke into the center of the earth. Speaking of Jax chokeslamming Dana Brooke into the center of the earth. Dangerous worker segue. Jax finished the match with an odd powerbomb into a shoulder-height chokeslam move, causing Brooke to hit the canvas hard, causing fans to fear Dana was concussed. PW Insider are reporting that thankfully Brooke was 100% okay after the rough bump she took from a Nia Jax chokeslam. Jax has a long history of moments like this, most recently injuring Mandy Rose in November, concussing Kairi Sane in April, and then opening her head open with a dangerous throw into the steps in June. The June injury to Sane, which had to be edited off TV, brought a lot of heat upon Jax backstage, with one source telling Brian Alvarez she needs to be fired, she is dangerous, fire her before she cripples or kills somebody. How do you think WWE should handle Nia Jax's continued series of dangerous botches? Let me know in the comments down below. WWE have faced a lot of criticism for how they've handled the pandemic, firing people at the start of lockdown, continuing to run shows, not enforcing mask policies, not testing, etc, etc. They've done a good job since August though, putting stricter precautions in place, and even finally addressing the disease live on air with Drew McIntyre's diagnosis 2 weeks ago. But apparently the talent wants them to do even more. Fightful Select is reporting that wrestlers were told via the Talent Relations app, because there really is an app for everything, that the company will not be providing on-screen talent with the COVID-19 vaccine. If they want to get vaccinated, they'll have to handle it on their own because, say it with me folks, they're independent contractors. The same independent contractors that were forced to work in the middle of a pandemic that saw multiple outbreaks of COVID. Understandably, this has upset quite a few people backstage, with Fightful reporting some of the talent they spoke to were shocked, while others were frustrated, but perhaps most damningly, some said they were not surprised. Some even noted that there are senior members of staff within WWE that actively speak out against COVID and its existence altogether. WWE might have just set themselves a logistics challenge even greater than the worldwide vaccine rollout though. As announced yesterday, they're going to move their complex WWE network exclusively to NBCU's Peacock premium platform from the 18th of March for US subscribers. It's a genius move business-wise for the company, worth a reported $1 billion over 5 years. And it's also great for subscribers price-wise, with the new version only costing $4.99. But interface-wise, there might be some issues, as @CowboyKDog on Twitter has pointed out.
I'll leave y'all with this because you're stupid. This platform, this streaming service, the best wrestling streaming service you're ever gonna get ever. Unless Peacock completely carries over the user interface and the code and all the markers for all the matches and all this specific that was made specifically for how the WWE Network user interface is, you are never gonna get this again. I hope that they do. I hope they shut my fat ass up and I'm wrong about it. But hypothetically, if I wanted to find any one wrestler, let's say Essa Rios from 2000, right? They're all there. They're all there, all 13 of them. I know he had those, right? Cool. Let's say I want to go to Peacock. Amy Poehler is here on Parks and Rec. Here's how this search function is on this app. Bro, she's not even on. Like, how do you think this is gonna work if I want to see some major guns in WCW with her honkers all out, man? This ain't gonna work, bro. This is not, there's too much content and they can't even get basic search functionality down, bro. Garbage. It's trash.
Now here's my review of last night's Raw in about 5 minutes. The Royal Rumble Go Home show was opened by Drew McIntyre showing. That's the noise of his sword being whipped out from his kilt. That way of phrasing it makes it sound just as bad. For a great promo on his two big opponents this month, Goldberg and COVID. He was everything a top babyface champion should be. Honest, sincere, and the most important trait in professional wrestling, credible. Sadly, that was the only good thing about the WWE Champions Go Home segment. Miz and Morrison obnoxiously interrupted, so Goldberg helped Drew beat them up. COVID affecting WWE's booking was out of their control here, but this was the episode to get them back on track. Why does Goldberg think Drew's disrespecting legends? Why is Goldberg even fighting McIntyre? Why should we be excited? Unfortunately, Charlotte Flair can't be on every single WWE brand, so to get round that, Raw is booking her in 3 different storylines instead. Entering the Royal Rumble, defending her tag titles against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and feuding with Lacey Evans for banging her dad, which led to my new discovery of wrestling booking, the Charlotte Rule. You know how you can have too much of a good thing? You can also have way too much of an already overexposed thing. The Omni Flare. The more Charlotte in an episode, the less enjoyable that episode will be. Which meant this episode, it sucked. She took on Baszler in the show's first match, which barely went a minute before Jax caused the DQ. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke ran down to save Flair, but not, her actual tag team champion partner Asuka, which, along with Lacey joining the heels, led to a 300% increase in Blonde for a 6-woman tag. And then it got worse. The aforementioned Shayna Flair botch happened, where the referee ruled a countout, and everyone stood around confused. So definitely not Raw General Manager Adam Pearce restarted the match in the break for Nia to win with that scary powerbomb chokeslam thing on Dana. And that wasn't even the end of Flair. She had another segment backstage later, walking in on her dad Rick showing Evans how to grapple a woman from behind. Charlotte cockblocked her father, saying womanizing isn't cute anymore. God, WWE is so progressive. And that she's not the bad guy. Lacey punched her in the head. We got the latest Retribution squash of Xavier Woods, which sadly didn't debut Brian Alvarez's new character pitch, Peacock. Instead, it was a name far worse, Slapjack. Woods won for a change with Retribution's interference backfiring. Ali showed him mercy in the post-match beatdown, telling him to deliver Kofi the message that he'll be replacing him in the Rumble match, which was actually really well done. And now for our second discovered rule of wrestling booking, the truth paradox. The more R-Truth on a wrestling show, the less believable that wrestling show becomes. R-Truth got an unfunny backstage skit with Riddle. He then interrupted a VIP lounge segment, thinking a gift for MVP was actually his. Got himself booked in a Royal Rumble qualifier against AJ Styles in another backstage skit, where he was beaten in about a minute later on. That's 4 separate appearances. Thankfully, Sheamus is doing some of the best work of his WWE career right now. And what was my favourite thing on the show, Sheamus and Morrison had a mid-card party like it's 2011. Morrison worked over Sheamus's knee in a really good match, which Sheamus just eked out a win. I thought this was going to be soured by Miz then challenging for a 2-on-1 handicap match right after, but that ended up being really good too. Sheamus fought through the pain, but eventually lost to a skull-crushing finale. It really feels like they're building him up for a big feud with Drew. Sadly, Riddle's feud with the Hurt Business is now 2 weeks out of date, but much like the bulging bottle of cream in my fridge, WWE are choosing to ignore that fact. Lashley has already decisively beaten Riddle in a US title match, so we got a gauntlet match here where if Riddle beat all the other Hurt Business members, he'd get another championship opportunity. Annoyingly, the other half of this story is also frustrating. Raw Tag Team Champions Cedric and Shelton are still infighting, leading to Benjamin and MVP getting quickly defeated. Lashley then attacked Riddle in the post-match, ensuring everyone looked worse than when they started this segment. Edge then announced in a pre-recorded promo that he'll be entering the Royal Rumble match, setting up another tantalizing stare down between him and Orton, which might dovetail into whatever Randy's doing with The Fiend. The main event of Alexa Bliss vs Asuka was the same as last week's main event, just this time for the Raw Women's Championship. It was the same stuff as last week. If you like supernatural storylines, then bully for you. WWE's YouTube audience certainly seems to, with the Randy Bliss Fiend segments consistently and massively outdrawing all their other clips. But if you're like me, who thinks it's all very hokey in a bad way, then you're going to hate it. Bliss randomly appeared on a rocking horse mid-match, which the announcers just treated like an everyday occurrence, undermining that most important thing we talked about earlier in wrestling, credibility, and then almost had the match won with her Lady Fiend locking in the mandible claw. I must admit though, the brief flash into Bliss's old gimmick and music with her crying was pretty cool. But just when you thought Bliss was going to win the title, Orton appeared with burn makeup on his face to hit Alexa with an RKO. Asuka, at this point, is now more of a prop than Charlotte's tag team title. What did you think of Raw? Let me know in the comments down below, and follow us on Twitter at WrestleTalk_TV to vote in our poll on a poll match, where 34.5% of you thought it was poor. This was a terrible episode of Raw in general, with too many repeated matches, the Riddle push being derailed, that terrible 6-woman tag, but by Royal Rumble Go Home show standards, this was even more of a failure. This week's Raw is awful. But this week is also Go Home week for WrestleTalk's Royal Jamble live reactions match. And ahead of our Royal Rumble predictions video tomorrow, here's what we've got planned for the Jambles. Oh, she's a beauty, isn't she? And she's mine. That map behind me, that's the world I'm gonna dominate. Because I'm the inaugural Jam That Champion. I'm the first ever successful defender of the Jam That Championship belt. I predicted a perfect card at TLC. So why do you think you can beat me?
Multi-time Quizzlemania champion.
The predictions king. I've won Quizzlemania, I don't know, 4 times.
Just trying to find a nice way of rephrasing that I'm the draw.
The youngest person to ever win Quizzlemania.
Pete, knock off me.
I'm Canadian.
I am a former Wrestle League winner.
I wear a mask.
Luke, also a knock off me.
My head is so huge
Tempest, a knock off me.
that there's got to be something useful in there.
The only man who has dethroned Mr. Davis.
I'm a journalist.
Masks are in this year.
I wrote a book.
Andy wishes he was a knock off me.
Hang on, I'll get it. Don't worry, I'll get it.
I've actually had a wrestling match.
Everybody knows how great the Authority has been.
No, you can't watch it. No one can watch it.
And then you've got Adam, Annie Lennox, who talks about wrestling.
It's time for the new blood.
Corporate Shopper, killing it.
Here's the book I wrote.
Harry Potter quiz champion.
I've never kidnapped anyone.
Corporate Shopper gets his time.
I've had 3 separate shows all get cut by WrestleTalk.
I'm super trustworthy.
I want to get paid to watch the Royal Rumble, I guess.
And I have a dog.
For the Jam That Championship.
So come this Sunday at the Royal Jamble.
The Royal Jamble.
At the Royal Jamble.
It's my destiny to win the Royal Jamble.
Well, who else are you gonna trust to put on the WrestleMania main event?
Can I get a yes, please?
And what's this? I spy behind me. Balls. That's right. Your fate will be decided by my balls. And even if you've got that one, you haven't got a chance. This Sunday, the 31st of January on WrestleTalk's Royal Rumble live reaction stream. 2 Jambles, 60 numbers, 10 competitors, where the winning numbers get to fight for the championship at WrestleJamia. Subscribe to WrestleTalk for the Royal Jamble this Sunday.
you won't need to win the Rumble. Because by then, we'll already be the champion. And everything will be fatal.
What big Royal Rumble return might have been spoiled? Click the video on the right to find out. And what are the 10 biggest Royal Rumble elimination fails? Click the video below that for Adam Blompier's latest list. Support WrestleTalk and subscribe for daily wrestling videos. I've been Mr. Davis. Jam that jam.